Hello, this is Shanker and today is 23rd June 2024. I'm making this video. Last video which I made was on Mercury, and people asked me what's the relationship between Mercury and Mars. I mentioned it in my. I was discussing about Mercury in the third house, and whenever Mercury in the third house, people feel it's a Kalpurush. The third house is its own house, so it should be very good. No, Mercury in third house, the planet which overrules, the planet which is the boss of Mercury becomes Mars, and Mars and Mercury are not very favorably disposed. So actually, if you see how Mercury reacts, you have to see Mars. And Mercury is a planet which acts like Rahu. It's Rahu. So there were a lot of queries on that. So I just wanted to clarify that. So each house has a lord, which is its final lord, the Kar Tattva lord, the main energy in that planet is for that particular house. For third house, the main energy which dominates the third house is Mars, apart from Mercury. That is the topic. Then you have to see the planet which gets exalted or debilitated. Luckily, there is no planet which gets exalted or debilitated in the house of Mercury. So that's how you see it. Mars becomes very important. This is I'm going to talk about Venus. Now, there are two combinations which people keep on talking about is Venus Saturn and Venus Rahu. And as soon as the people see a combination of Venus Saturn or Venus Rahu, they start blabbering. I'm telling you a lot of things. But Venus Saturn but Venus Saturn is a very, very important combination. It gives you immense wealth. It gives you immense luxuries. You may be anywhere. You may do, you may not do, you may work, you may not work. Wealth and money will come. So Venus Saturn is good, and the source of wealth will depend on the house which it is placed. But one caveat which I have seen repeatedly, and I've seen it in most of the horoscopes, is Venus Saturn aspect. If Venus and Saturn aspect a planet which is inimical to Saturn, let's say Surya, Sun, Chandrama, Moon, or Mars, it spoils that particular planet. Not only the Kartatva of that planet, but also the lordship of that planet, at least the Kalpurush lordship of that planet. So remember this thumb rule, and please apply it and let me know if my research is right. If Venus and Saturn are together, good for wealth, source of wealth, depending on which house it is. Suppose the ninth house, you are born wealthy, no problems. But what if Venus and Saturn is in the ninth house, and in the third house you have Sun? Or if Venus and Saturn is in the third house, and Sun is in the ninth house, your Sun gets destroyed. Similarly, the house besides Venus Saturn, like Venus Saturn in the ninth house, and Sun is in the 10th house, then also Sun gets destroyed. So if a planet which is inimical to Saturn comes in conjunction or in aspect to this particular combination, it is destroyed. So please, this is my research, have a look and come back to me. The second thing is Venus Rahu. Shukra, what is Venus? Venus is the ruler of Kali Yuga. Venus knows all Vidyas. Venus governs finance. Venus governs food. Venus governs accumulated wealth. Venus governs, in the non-life things, Venus governs this. Venus governs the man opposite you. Venus governs partnership. Venus governs medicines. So anything which is modified in the world and made into something is governed by Venus. And therefore, even the industry, the film industry, the modeling industry, which a person, a film actor doesn't look what he is, which is on the screen. And the social media which is there, the perception creation which is very important today, is all by Venus. Venus, Hindi में बोलते हैं, तिया चरित्र का मालिक होता है. It can play with 5 balls, it can play with 4 balls, it can juggle. It's a big juggler, and it takes you forward in all your materialistic pursuit. Right or wrong is not the issue, but it takes forward. But when Venus is a Rahu, Rahu gives a greater push. Rahu is about thinking very big. When you think very big and you have a Venus who is a guru, who understands things, it will make you help taking you to that position. Whatever it is, it will help you to climb the mountain. If the mountain is there, some people do not climb, they only climb a little bit, and they have the pricks and they have the stones, etc. Creating problems, and they come down. But when Venus and Rahu is together, you'll find out a method of climbing up the mountain or going to the top of the mountain. So it is a planet which makes you rise high, makes you wealthy, but through methods which are like creating perceptions, social media, negative thinking, not thinking twice, and creating problems to somebody else. If it is expected by various other negative planets, it could be even murder in a very negative way, in a very positive way where nobody would understand. Creating politics in a way which nobody appreciates. Having a friend, making a friend and then stabbing it. All this Venus Rahu does. Venus Rahu, but its goal is wealth, wealth and money. Materialism is what Venus Rahu does, and therefore it is good for materialism. It is also good for the show world, show business, television, social media, communication, creating a perception for yourself. And today is the world of perception. जो दिखता है वो बिकता है type. So Venus and Rahu, whichever house it is placed, from that house it takes the energy of that house and gives you that particular thing. I mean, it's not that always it will be wealth, but it would be a form of wealth. I would say the ultimate end result would be some form of wealth which will come through the house it is placed in. So I will not go into details of that because videos, YouTube videos are not meant for that. I mean, you can't keep on it. But that is what Venus Rahu does. So, but Venus Rahu is negative as far as your married life is concerned. It will get you into extramarital relationships. It will tend to even for women, they will be beautiful. Men, they will be beautiful, but they will be deceived. They can deceive. They will not be deceived. They can deceive people. They will be deceptive. They would have their goals very clear. If they would use the opposite sex for themselves. So Venus and Rahu is a planet which is not good as per the norms of my generation, where they said that okay, respect a lady, be nice to a lady, don't use a lady, but all that is getting diluted and it is getting magnified. And Venus Rahu magnifies it still further, but with the goal of materialism and achieving that material wealth. So Venus Rahu that way is not very good. It is good in a way. It's for you to decide what Venus Rahu does, but Venus Rahu certainly will make a person look beautiful. Even if he is not wealthy, he will have wealth of some form around him. So that wealth is there which it creates, and Venus Rahu makes a person in the present world, you call him world wisely, super intelligent, chalak, deceptive, but will be able to achieve his goals if it is helped by other planets also. It makes the billionaires, the dictators, and the politicians of today. So that is what Venus Rahu is. So that is how you have to understand Shukra Rahu, Venus Rahu. So good or bad is for you to decide, but that is what Venus Rahu does, and Venus Rahu is capable of doing. So these are two things which people keep on saying: Venus Saturn, Venus Rahu, and people keep on talking a lot about it. The last thing which I want to tell you is, which I've seen, is Venus in the 4th house will give you extramarital relationships. You will tend to get into extramarital relationships, and if other things like Jupiter, etc., is very strong, you will have inclinations towards extramarital relationships. But it will give you relationships, more than one relationship, friendship with girls, deceiving your friend, things to that effect. Venus in the 4th house is going to give. Find this out, see this in horoscopes, and come back to me. 9 out of 10 will be good, but it also depends on the various other 7 planets also. So, but this tendency will be there. Mostly I have seen it leads to relationships and extramarital relationships, and relationships which are out of the box. So with this I end my video on these two subjects of Venus Saturn and Venus Rahu. Thanks. If you want to write to me, don't ask me predict me about your future, but anything which you feel is going to write, you can write to me at my WhatsApp 9818733000, 9818733000. Any research, anything you want to condemn or criticize me or tell me that I'm wrong, please do tell me, because that will also that is the best thing which makes a person to learn. So please do write those things on my WhatsApp 9818733000. Thanks. With this, I end this video. Bye for now. Thank you very much. Bye.